Welcome to the Success Sensei Podcast for anyone interested in success, happiness, and balance. We'll teach you how to be a black belt at life. And now, your host, former professional fighter, multiple world champion, entrepreneur, and investor, Robert Devan.
Welcome to the Success Sensei, my first ever podcast in this series. Hopefully we'll be delivering a lot of good content over the next few weeks and few months. I've loads of things to talk about. I've loads of things that I know is definitely going to help your life. But the very first thing I'm just motivated to talk about is junk food. Junk food and eating late. Obviously we're all trying to be healthy, eating healthy. We're all trying to be on proper diets, but I think to really effectively make sure that you're on the right track, I do think you have to put a lot of negative associations to the junk food and to eating late. For example, like we think of junk food as a reward, we think of it's nice to eat, and we have all these positive associations with food that's not good for us. So besides focusing on the positivity of eating right, it's very, very important to focus on the negativity of eating the wrong stuff. So yeah, it's a bit of a negative podcast, but for a positive reason. It's associating negative things to the behavior that you don't want to keep going. It's a very strong and powerful mindset. Besides focusing on eating right and then allowing yourself these cheat meals as a reward. Now, you have to understand, I'm not saying that you shouldn't eat certain things in moderation. I'm just saying if you're looking to achieve your maximum gains from your training or from your lifestyle and just feeling better and being in the best shape of your life, then it's easier if you associate negative associations with food that isn't good for you, as opposed to thinking of bad food as being, a reward or as being like pleasurable. Like we do associate pleasure with food that's bad for us, and we associate hardship with food that's good for us. So just to concentrate on this for a while, and hopefully it'll help you associate negatively with bad food. So that actually it's really, really helpful for the process of being healthy. So you can write these down, and anytime you feel that you're gonna, you want to binge, if you write them down, you can read over them, and it can persuade you or dissuade you not to eat them. So look, here we go. Let's go through them. Okay. Waste of money. Fast food. People think that, fast food is cheaper, but what happens generally is you eat all your normal food and then you still eat fast food on top of that. And it actually makes you eat more. The salt content, the sugar content, it actually makes you eat more. You end up overspending. So it's a fallacy to think that you're going to save money. You're actually not. You're going to waste money. It's bad for your sleep. When you eat late and you eat junk food, it sits in your stomach for longer, so you're not going to get a good sleep. You're going to feel fat and bloated. It's not a nice feeling. You have to associate a nice feeling with not a fullness, with more of an emptiness. You're going to underperform at training. You can't possibly be putting in inferior fuel into your body and expecting high athletic performance. So it's going to affect. You're not going to be the best person that you can possibly be at training. Okay, the disgusting one: irregular bowel movements and flatulence. So no one wants bad gas or bad wind, and no one wants, to be having to rush to the toilet because they're of their stomach. So associate that even that alone by itself is a very, very powerful image in your own mind that can persuade you not to be eating junk food and not to be eating junk food late at night. Grumpiness, it does affect moods, so it can make you grumpy, especially initially you'll get a bit of an endorphin release from the happiness associated with the food, but then afterwards you're going to feel guilty. The next day you could feel a food hangover, which is a real thing. It feels like an alcohol hangover, except for you're just so stuffed from food you can't explain your moodiness and your grumpiness. Because it does lead to erratic hormones and erratic emotion, up and down, like a little bit of a roller coaster. And to make life easier, balance is the key. Balance emotions definitely make life, as opposed to this big roller coaster spike up and then straight down, right? Do you know what? It doesn't actually taste great anyway. It doesn't. You know, you build it up in your mind. You're very excited. You're going to eat your junk food meal, your cheat meal, or your binge. Then you eat it and you're disappointed. It wasn't actually that amazing. It wasn't everything that you thought in your mind. You probably let yourself get too hungry before you had all your food, before you had all the junk food. Joint pains from excess weight. If you are excessively heavy due to eating incorrectly, you are going to have more joint pains. Arthritis will be a thing. It does accelerate aging. You'll look worse. Just eat junk food every day for the next month and have a look in the mirror and tell me that you don't look worse. You will look worse. You'll be too heavy for certain exercises. So there'll be stuff that you can't do. Obviously, everybody's not an Olympic gymnast, but I mean, if you're a couple of stone heavier, you're not going to be wanting to do even simple things like a couple of stone heavier affects you wanting to do jump jacks or burpees, or, you know, there's lots that you won't want to do. There's lots that you won't be able to do to get to your fittest, whatever that might be. It can reduce quality time with your kids, with your other half, with family members, because you're more groggy, you know, you're back to that food hangover. And, you know, the amount of time spent when you're hungry shopping for what you want, thinking about the junk food you're going to have, you know, having it, being lethargic after it, you know, so it does affect your time. It can spread into the next day if you eat very late before going to bed. Clothes don't fit. Many people have clothes in their wardrobe that don't fit them appropriately, that they're holding on, waiting till they're fitter and they start eating healthier. Even that in itself, without having to go, because who wants to go out and have to buy clothes as the next couple of sizes up? You don't. So you're trying to hold on to the clothes that you used to fit into. So that should be reason enough alone not to want to spend all that money on these extra clothes, which acknowledge that you put on the weight that you didn't want to acknowledge. So by eating healthy, hopefully you'll reverse that. It isn't a good example for our family members, for our kids. The kids learn by watching. Other people in our lives are motivated by us as well, you know. So I know that's a hard one, and it's a very emotive subject, but I mean, we want to try to be the best example to, especially to our kids, as we can be. These large companies that are producing all this food, they're profiting. A lot of them are large, capitalistic, arguably evil companies are not. That's a whole other debate. But they are profiting from you know, our fast foods, our junk food addictions. Cellulite, that's another thing that you mainly get from not eating correctly and not training correctly. But cellulite, that alone by itself is enough to strike fear in a lot of people. You know, there can be a lot of unhygienic food prep in fast food. You know, even that image alone in your mind can help put you off, like people not wearing gloves when they're preparing your food. And whatever image it helps you to put in your mind to stop you from, to break the cycle, that junk food cycle and those junk food cravings, go with that, because you're replacing those positive images for all these negative images. It encourages dehydration. The high salt content in all this food does encourage dehydration, which means, you know, you need. So you're being told to drink plenty of water throughout the day, to drink more water, to be fitter, to cleanse your body, to be able to do. And then by consuming all this salt, you're inhibiting that. So you need to not be taking in so much excessive salt to improve hydration in your body, which is obviously a good thing. We're predominantly made of water, as we're always being told, so you need plenty of water. You won't feel sexy. You can't really feel sexy if you're feeling if you're feeling bloated and you've lots of flatulence and, you know, bowel disturbances and you don't fit into the clothes. You know, you're not going to, and it does lead to loss of confidence in everyday life as well. It can lead to, if you're not feeling, or you're feeling ashamed or any of the associated feelings, guilt, and you can't wear what you want to wear, and you're choosing clothes to try to hide certain body parts, and, you know, due to all the many reasons that junk food is bad. So it's loss of confidence. Chemical poison. I mean, there's so many chemicals in all this food that, you know, we don't even know what's in it. So at least when you're eating organic or unprocessed stuff, I mean, you have a fair idea what's in it in comparison to, you know, all the prepackaged or all the over-the-counter fast food. It's impossible to be body proud. Like, and I'm not talking about once a week. I'm not talking about your takeaway. No, I'm talking about on a consistent basis, you know, several times a week or every night. Associate all these feelings and all these thoughts and all these images, gross or not, to the process of eating food and eating junk food specifically late at night. And it will make it a hell of a lot easier to make better decisions and not to allow yourself get hungry. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not preaching. I'm not preaching from the stars. I'm in a position, and I've come from a sport where you have to make weight and you have to cut weight and you have to be a certain weight. And I don't think you can be involved in weight cutting sports without having food issues and body issues and struggles. So, I mean, I'm the type of person that I can easily put on 2 stone, which is to anyone else listening, 28 pounds, 30 pounds easily. But the only difference is I know I can get it back. I know I probably should still not do it, but it's hard at Christmas time, holidays time, you know, and where my body will enable me, unfortunately, to put on the weight. So everything that I'm talking to you about, I use myself to knock me out of that cycle that I've been in many times before. But I know I have the confidence to do it, and I know I can do it. But one of the tricks I use is this negative association. Besides the concentrating on, you know, how healthy the food is, but trying to break that cycle of, you know, oh, that's great to eat healthy, but I love the odd cheat meal, or it's great to eat healthy, but I love it's going to be a reward at the end of the week, you know, and because once I have that reward, that can knock me back into a cycle of nearly every day again. So that one, because I'm telling myself it's so pleasurable, it's a reward, it's a goal to be eating the junk food. So you need to concentrate. As I said, write down some of those. You probably have your own. Write them down, and it will help 100%. It will help if you visualize them to make the proper decisions, because it's every meal, it's everything counts. Every meal, every decision that you make for every meal is what adds up to your overall well-being and your overall mental health as well. So try to make good decisions. Try not to let yourself get so hungry that you're in such a weakened state that you literally will make the worst decision possible. So do keep yourself full during the day, so you don't, and you don't have such cravings in the evening. You know, it's a struggle. It's a struggle for everyone. It's an up and down roller coaster throughout life. It's very, very hard to keep this in 100% balance. So if you need to use this, use it. If you don't need to use this, fair play to you, and I hope everybody's doing very well. Thank you for listening. This is the very first podcast from the Success Sensei, and I look forward to doing many more for you guys. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
This has been the Success Sensei, fighting the winning fight. So add us, subscribe, like, and comment. Keep those hands up and keep moving forward.